Ooh, that looks tasty.
All right, soldiers, this is it. Our last push against the machine empire. This is our chance. This is what you signed up for. Actually, Sergeant, I just signed up because I was told that they were going to pay for my college. So, could we maybe not go on the suicide death push, maybe?
Welcome, folks, to The Hungry Gamer is back with another Kickstarter preview, and today we are talking about Legions of Steel, designed by Marco Bakota. As always, please make sure you have turned on your Klingon subtitles in case I make any errors in the brief rules description that I give you, and do keep in mind this is still in the prototype phase and is subject to change. Now, what Legions of Steel is it is a reprint and reworking of an older miniatures game by the same name. And this is a miniatures game that takes place far in the future, space travel, laser weapons, and all that. And of course, humanity had the hubris to create artificial intelligence. And as it always does, they made skeleton-looking robots, and they revolted, and now humanity is in a battle for its very existence. And in the game, you are either playing soldiers of the United Nations Empire or the Machine Empire. And as is the case with most skirmish games, the story plays out over a series of different scenarios that you're able to set up and then battle with each other. The game will eventually have a solo mode, though I did not get to experience that for this preview, so I can't speak to it as of now. Now, if you are not interested in learning how this game is played and just want to jump ahead to my final thoughts, then you want to go to the timestamp on the screen, right? Now, for those of us still here, I am going to fly through lightning fast and give you a rough idea of the basic mechanics of Legions of Steel, because as a miniatures game, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I want to give you a rough idea of the movement and the actions and the phases, just so you have a little better idea of what's going on. So in the game, each player will be able to select their squad or squads, and you determine that based on a set point level, and so each squad gets X amount of points, and you equip and outfit and purchase your troops in that way. What I've gotten to check out is two different types of units of the Machine Empire. I have these Nightmares here, which are kind of skeleton-looking dudes, and then I have this Assault Fiend that has some range and a big old trident to wail on people. Then for my UN, I have just regular soldiers here, heavy weapon soldiers, and a sergeant. Now, for the most part, the differences are subtle. The sergeant here has the ability to use leadership, and he has a certain amount of leadership points, and every turn he's able to basically make his troops do bonus actions, while the Assault Fiend here has armor and can take 2 damage. Otherwise, they are functionally the same except for their loadout. At the beginning of each turn, you're going to wind up rolling off for initiative, and just for argument, whichever die finishes over there will be the machines. And so in this case, the UN troops are going first, and you can spend leadership to boost that roll if you like. And so then, whoever wins initiative, they get to pick which side is going to act first that turn. And each unit that you have gets to make a move, and it gets to make an attack. I will say that movement you can break up at any time that you want, so you can move a little, do your attack, and then keep moving. And I will also point out that everything has a movement value in this game. Moving backward costs you 2. Turning while running costs you 2. Opening a door costs you 1. Just moving forward 1 costs you 1, and so on and so forth. Additionally, moving affects your attack. If you haven't moved at all, you actually have a better chance of hitting. Now, I want to talk a little bit about attacking. Attacking, again, is done with a very simple d6 ratio. However, it is determined by how far away you are. And if you check out your handy-dandy charts here, it tells you your weapon, what its chances to hit are at what range. So as you see, the regular blaster, from 1 to 5 hexes away, I just got to roll a 3+ to hit. However, like I said, that gets modified by all kinds of things. Are you shooting through cover? Shooting through cover? Well, it goes up by 1. Do they have armor? It might go up by 1, and so on, and so on, and so on. But it is just that simple. So if my sergeant here is shooting at this guy 1, 2, 3 spaces away, all I got to do is roll a 3 or more, and I've hit. In this case, I missed. I'm a terrible soldier and I deserve to be killed by our new machine overlords. Now, also, you'll see I have these dice out here. Now, what these dice are, these are status dice. So we have, oh, I've already fired. I have these should actually say +1s with the C, and that means cover. So you can set up a cover fire, meaning I can't see anything, but I'm going to set up a cover fire on that square, and if something walks through it, I'm going to fire. However, if I had moved before I did my cover, I'm going to have to add +1 to my to hit. So again, 3 away, if I was set a cover and I'd moved, then I'm going to have to get a 4 if something enters that hex. And if you ran again, it's +2 to the die. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You can lay down suppressing fire, meaning you have this die out there and you're suppressing different areas. And there's all these kind of tactics that go along with, are you going to shoot now or are you going to pick some other kind of tactic because you are planning on something crossing your line of sight? And the same thing happens with other gear that you have. For example, this thing I have out here on the map here is one of the machine weapons. It's this darkness grenade. You throw it out there and it's suddenly +2 to hit for any human shooting through it. Though the machine, they can see right through it. So it's changing the environment. The humans have their own thing. They have this little force wall shield they can throw out there with their grenades. And the humans also have more traditional grenades. And then, they hit. And if you hit the right area, then there's a blast. And just blast all the way around. And again, so on and so on and so on. If you are familiar with miniatures games, you know that there's lots of modifiers here. At the risk of sounding trite, that is the core of the game. The very, very core is relatively simple. You move, you attack, or you do something else with your attack with a covering fire or suppressing fire, and then you have your scenario objective. Maybe it is you have to hold a certain place for a certain amount of turns. Maybe you have to cross the map and get away, kill everybody. And I will also say that I'm not going into, there are some more advanced rules that you can also play with. And by this, I'm talking about there's rules where you can do snap firing and moving through other figures and dealing with stress. There's ways that you can do a burst fire where you're going to double the amount of dice that you get to roll with your attack, but you're going to split it up amongst various foes in the same room or the same area, and there's modifiers to that. And all of these things that you can think of that you might want to possibly do with your soldiers, well, you can probably do it. There's probably a rule for it. You just have to know what it is, internalize it, and go. But what do I like about this game? First off, I like the possibilities with this game. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is I only got to play with 2 units from each faction. That's it. And these are the basic units. 1 hit to kill, basic weapons. Games go relatively quickly. But there are so many things that there could be. And again, I'm just making this stuff up. I have no idea what's coming. But what if there are vehicles? What if there are bigger things? What if there are snipers? What if there are flamethrowers? What if there are machines that have some kind of stealth? Or, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But there's so many possibilities that would allow you to personalize your army. And I think these possibilities are exciting, even if it's just down to changing your loadouts, different kinds of weapons. The options are there and are exciting because the rule set has so many details, and there are a lot of rules that tell you, well, if you want to kneel down, this is what you do. You want to be able to move through someone, this is what you do. You want to try to throw your grenade around the corner, this is what you do. It makes for a lot of possibilities within your game. And also, I love that everything has a big range. For example, the basic UN weapon has a max range of 36 to 45 squares. I mean, that is massive. One of these tiles is 3, and on my board you can't see it all. I have 6 tiles. So that's 18 squares, which means you can do huge, huge battles and massive range, and I think that is so cool. There are so many games where range is so very limited, and it means that, yeah, you can do a big board if you really want to, but you're not going to do anything until you get close, but not with this game, and I think that is very, very, and to me, that's just super exciting. And again, along with that, the possibilities of different weapons and, artillery and fortifications, it's very, very exciting. I also appreciate that the basic mechanics of the combat are also very simple. Most of these troops, you hit them once, they're dead. Boom, gone. It's very easy to figure out what you need to hit. You take a look up. Is my line of sight going through anything that would give cover? Okay, at least one, boom, +1. Look at my chart. Okay, this is what my chart is. It says I need a 4. I have +1 for the range. And this guy here, he has armor, so I need a 6. Done. And it's pretty simple. And I really, really like that in a miniatures game, especially when it's one that has a ton of options. Keep it simple with the combat so I know what I'm rolling and know what I'm doing, but then give me the options to mix it up from there. And I think that is complexity done right. I also really like these options of the covering fire and the suppression, because in a map like this where there's so many twists and turns and walls, it can get frustrating that if you go first, the other person just hides and nothing you can do about it. But this covering allows you to run into a spot and get yourself all set up, and okay, boom, now if something comes out there, I've run, I'm in spot, and I can hit it, and it's going to be harder for me to hit it, but it feels so thematic to me and solves that problem of sometimes the person who goes first is just out of luck. I really do like all of that, and I also think that the scenarios that the game comes with and are set up have a good variety of what it is that you need to do and plenty of different options. I'll just show here. You see it's just a printout, but this is again just for the prototype, and that is a good number of scenarios there. And I appreciate that. That's the type of thing I think that keeps a miniatures game fresh. Now, what are my quibbles with the game? And the first one that I'll say is it is a little bit fiddly. And the reason it's a little bit fiddly is because there is a rule for pretty much everything. Even down to my favorite one is the fact that if you want to walk backwards, this is what it costs you. But you have to learn those rules, and have all the charts nearby to check them out. And so this game can feel like it's a bit of a bear to really pick up and figure out the first time through. And the same thing with what is the difference between covering and with suppressing, and how do you determine which squares out there are actually suppressed, and what does this grenade do versus what does that grenade do? Well, this grenade puts out a force wall. Okay, great, that does this, but oh, how is that different from the machine one? And the machine one, well, it's going to last actually for 2 turns, whereas the human one just lasts until it gets busted. And this troop over here, he has leadership. How many leadership points does he have? And what can I use those leadership points for? When do those leadership points refresh? And while, as I said, it's very thematic, it can be a lot. And the other thing is, and this is probably my biggest one, is I don't know what the possibilities are. If the game only comes with what I have in the prototype, then it's not enough to me, because 2 units and the human unit has leadership and the enemy big unit has armor, and that's it. To me, it's not enough. It means that some of the cool things that the game does allow for, you really can't do, because it's not going to be that fun to play a huge protracted battle across a whole table if this is all you have. And so, as I said, I don't know what all the other options are going to be. And so for me, I have to put that in as also a potential quibble, is are you going to have to spend a ton of money to get enough stuff to keep the game varied? Because this game, I mean, it comes with outdoor tiles, so it's set up to do that, but I don't want to play an outdoor battle if this is all I have out there. I want something more. I want something interesting. I want to have jump packs or speeders or whatever it is. But really, that's it. I think that there is a significant amount of potential in this game. It's a game that has a ton of lore behind it. I've read a couple short stories. There's a lot of lore in the scenarios and the rule book, and it is a rich world. And because there are so many options within the game of what you can do, it really feels like if there is enough content as far as what you get, then you are going to be able to tell any story within this rich world that you want, and that is exciting. And if you like more of an old school vibe miniatures game, one that has a lot of rules, but a lot of rules with a purpose, then this could be a game for you. So there you have it, folks. That is Legions of Steel. As always, if I made any mistakes in the rules that I did explain, which were not many because I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of explaining everything, because again, it's a lot to take in. Please let me know in the comments with the timestamp. I'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.